Hello, my fellow creative freelancers and solopreneurs. Welcome to Coaching for Creatives. I am Aura McKay and I'm the founder of Business of Creativity. Today's conversation is all about habit, and it's a perfect day to have that conversation because I am leveraging a habit right now, even as we speak. I created a habit a little over 2 years ago, and I am still doing it today. In fact, I am being unstoppable in my habit by doing it outside of my normal comfort zone, outside of my normal routine, but still being able to leverage the power of the habit to be able to show up for you guys at 2 o'clock and do a live broadcast because of the power of the habit that I've created. Hi, Anna. Hi, Jamie. Thank you so much for joining me live. The conversation today is about habits and routines. And for many of us, our habits and our routines have been really disrupted over the last 3 to 4 months. So, drop a comment in the comment thread and let me know if your habits have significantly changed, or if you've noticed that you've been relying on habit even more. Because when our lives are in chaos, often we default to relying more and more and more on habit and routine. When our routine gets thrown off, sometimes that can be enough to completely take us out of our game. And for many of us, we've seen that in the last few months with our routines being completely disrupted. We can no longer necessarily run our days the same way. We can't go to our coffee shops to work. We're not necessarily networking in person. There's so many things that we used to do just kind of out of rote and didn't really pay attention to them that no longer works for us. So I'm pretty sure that you guys are all present to the fact that your habits and routines have been disrupted. So how can you reclaim them, and how can you really leverage that power? As I mentioned at the start of this conversation, coaching for creatives is a very intentional habit. A little over 3 years ago, I decided that I really wanted to be more consistent with my marketing, with sharing who I am, sharing my knowledge, my resources. I wanted to be more consistent about doing it. And I noticed that I wasn't consistent about posting on Facebook, and I wasn't consistent about posting on Instagram. And writing emails didn't seem to be something that lit me up or filled me with joy or was very easy or fun for me. And writing a blog just occurred as a chore or an obligation. And yet I still had the commitment and the desire to connect with you guys, to be sharing my knowledge and my tools and tips with you. So what I came up with was a way of being able to connect with you that was pretty fun for me, super easily accessible, didn't require a lot of effort or a lot of preparation for it. I was able to have a cue, so it was very, I knew when it was going to happen. So all of the things that make a habit easy, that it's fun, it's fulfilling, it's accessible, it's easy to do, I set that up for myself when I set up Conversations for Creatives. So originally it was called the Tuesday 2 o'clock Tea and Talk. And what I decided was I like video, I like being live, I like spontaneously sharing from my heart, from the depths of my toolboxes, the things that I think are most relevant. And I like Facebook as a platform. So I decided that I would come on and do a minimum of 15 minutes live broadcast once a week. And I committed to a date and I committed to a time. And then I created a contract agreement with the world by telling you guys that I was going to do it. And I created that accountability factor for myself by sharing with people that I knew really cared about my success and were listening for me to show up as who I wanted to be in the world. So I enrolled other people and I said, hey, I'm going to do this. I'm committing to this. I'm going to show up at 2 o'clock. So that's one way way that you can leverage the power of habits is to enroll other people and help them hold you accountable and support you. But even without that, there's lots of ways that you can still leverage the power of habits just on your own. So the next thing I did that was really smart is that I picked something that was fun for me. If a habit occurs as a chore, or there's no payoff, or there's no fulfillment, there's no fun to it, it's so much harder to adapt that habit. So even when you have something that you think you need to do, like maybe you want to be getting up earlier, maybe you want to be adapting a morning routine, maybe you want to be doing exercise. So right now, exercise occurs as not fun for me. Actually, I should reframe that. A few months ago, exercise occurred as not fun and not fulfilling and not easy, until I decided to share my goal of walking the Camino de Santiago with one of my very good friends, Miss Anna. I think you're still listening. And by sharing that, we were able to come up with a fun way for me to engage in the habit of daily activities. So I enrolled her, got accountable again, and came up with a fun way for me to do something that previously hadn't occurred as fun for me. So marketing and consistent marketing about 2.5, 3 years ago did not occur for me as fun at all. I don't know how many of you who are listening live or listening on the replay, I don't know how you feel about marketing, but the consistency of it seems to be a bugaboo for me. And so by creating these live broadcasts, these are fun for me. I enjoy these. And so by setting up a habit that was fun and fulfilling, I'm now upping the likelihood of success. I'm making it more likely that I'm going to engage in the habit because it is fun. The third thing that I did that was smart was I made it easy. So when I think about writing a blog or writing a weekly newsletter or trying to even post on Instagram, there's so much stuff that goes on with trying to get ready to do that. You know, thinking about your blog title and then writing the blog and then spell checking it and how many words is it and figuring out what kind of images you're going to use and what your alt tags are going to be and then uploading it to your website and then sharing it on social media. It just occurred as like all of these steps and all of these different places where I could get stopped or I could let my own mindset just take me out of that game. So when you create a habit, create that habit as a very easy to access habit. So some people, that shows up for them if they want to be doing exercise, that they have their runners out and their workout gear out and ready for them in the morning so that it's so easy for them. They don't even have to think about it or go and find their workout gear or do any of those things. It's just easy for them to access it right away. So one of the things that creates ease is commitments to others. One of the things that creates ease is having no preparation to have to do to get to start the habit. So creating it fun and fulfilling, creating ease, enrolling other people in holding you accountable. These are some of the key steps in creating habits that are going to actually support you. I would also encourage you to consider things like a structure or a system. So something that allows you to really know, is it time to start? So is there a clear cue or a trigger to starting your habit? So that's the fifth thing that I did that was really smart for this Conversations for Creatives live broadcast is that I set it up that it was at 2:00 every Tuesday. So it doesn't matter, no matter what happens, I am going to be on air live at 2 p.m. Pacific every Tuesday. So here I am. I'm at a client's house right now practicing social distancing and safety and all of that kind of stuff. But here I am, and I'm unstoppable. I had to stop the meeting, and I said, no, I got to broadcast at 2:00. So I've got to get on air and do that. And I've done broadcasts from airports. I've done broadcasts while I'm out for walks with friends. The ease of being able to just grab my phone and hop on right away. There's no barrier. And there's a really specific cue and trigger. So this cue and trigger means that I'm not gonna forget. There's no wondering, is it time now? Could I do it later? Oh, I don't feel like it right this minute. It's 2:00 every Tuesday, no matter what, whether I feel like it or not, gang, whether I feel like it or not. So I'd love to hear from you guys, like what kinds of things have worked for you in creating new habits, or where have you found recently that your habits have kind of broken down? One of the habits for me that has broken down over the last few months of shelter in place has been my evening habits. So typically I like to decide every morning, what time am I going to end work today, so that I don't carry my work on into the evening, that I have a really clear boundary about when I'm working and when I'm not working. So for me, oh, hey, Michael, nice to see you. Hey, Jay, nice to see you guys here. Oh, I like having a new audience. So for me, the habit in the evening really fell apart, because normally I'd set my time and then that would be it. And once I'm finished work, usually around 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I'll go for a walk in the sunshine. I'll enjoy the fresh air. I'll do some gardening. I might hang out with friends. So all of these kind of social connection, human things to do outside of my work time. And of course, I've trained my cat. So now every day at 3 or 4 o'clock, he comes into my home office and he's like, dude, it's time to quit work, which is awesome. So there's my really obvious cue and trigger. But what's happened now with the social distancing and shelter in place, that instead of connecting to friends and getting social and getting filled up as a human being, I'm sitting on the couch in front of Netflix for 4, 6, 8, 10 hours sometimes. And that is not a habit that I want. So what I'm in the process of doing right now is creating a new habit, a habit of intention instead of a habit by default. So sometimes we just start doing something and we've done it enough times that it becomes a habit, and it's not necessarily a habit that supports us. So my Netflix for way too many hours every evening, that habit is in the process of changing. I declare it right now to be so. And I'm gonna create a new habit, and a new habit of ending my day with some intentional reflection, some looking back at some gratitudes and some successes, and to see if I can't reach out every day at least once and connect to one person and tell them how important they are to me in my life. Even though I can't connect with you guys in person, to make a point of getting back connected to that human connection. So that's my aspirational habit that I'm going to be working on. I'd love to hear from you guys. Are there any habits that you'd like to create for yourself that you've been struggling with? The last tip I'm going to give you is the book about habit that changed my life and changed my perspective and gave me a whole lot of access to cheat sheets and ways of tracking your habits and creating new ones on a really long-lasting, sustainable level. That book, my friends, is called Atomic Habits. So Atomic Habits is the book that really shifted how I approach habits and forming habits, and I invite you to check that book out as an awesome resource. Hey Anna, woohoo! Joining me in ditching the evening Netflix. Now, not all of the Netflix, but I'm going to create a new habit around what that actually looks like for me. And I'm not sure yet, because one of the ways that you can create a new habit is you can very clearly visualize what the new habit looks like. And once you have that visualization of the new habit, you're kind of like pre-scripting it so you don't have to figure it out as you go, deciding in advance what the actions that you're going to take. So that's what I'm going to be working on over the next week, is what am I going to design that habit to look like? How am I going to build in the consistency of that habit? And how am I going to grow the practice of my mastery of that habit? So gang, I will be posting some habit-related posts and some opportunities for you to participate and get some feedback on your own habits over in my Facebook group, the Business of Creativity Community. I'd love for you to join me. I will post a link underneath the video, and I'd love to see you there. So this has been the Conversations for Creatives, Coaching for Creatives. I guess it's a coaching for creatives if I'm really offering you my coaching insight, and it's a conversation when you talk back. So today has been Coaching for Creatives. I'm Aura McKay, founder of Business of Creativity, and I look forward to seeing you here next week at 2 o'clock on a Tuesday. Make it a habit. I'll see you then. Thank you.